Hi, guys. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. As usual, I'm rushing to get here, but I am here and we can begin this thing right now. I had two clients today at my center, so you know how that goes. Um, it's always like a rush to get back here, but I am here and so glad that you guys can join me, right? For our Wellness Wednesday. Welcome in, guys. Please feel free to say hi. I know I am streaming to Meet Me. I'm streaming to YouTube. I am recording for my podcast and I am streaming to TikTok. So welcome in. Reese, don't worry. Whoever is a hater in here, you know what I mean? They're haters. Like just let them be haters. Let them haterade. We will be just fine, right? We will be just fine. All right, I think I'm set up. There we go. Everybody can hear me. Yeah, Reese, we got this. Don't worry. Ignore the haters, okay? Here we go. All right, so for those of you that are watching, if I have moderators on all of my sites, I am recording to my Wellness Wednesday podcast. So just keep track of everything going on in there and let people know that I can't really talk to them, but I will have like a Q&A question and Q&A period afterwards if anybody has any questions. All right. They really do, Reese. They really do. All right, we're going to go ahead and record. And for those of you watching on YouTube, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you guys being here. Hi, guys. Welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I am Uma, and I am today talking about one of the modalities I offer at my center, the Lotus and the Light Metaphysical Center. I am a CEO of a metaphysical wellness center, an energy healer, a psychic medium, and most of all, a soul alignment coach. And I have to know a lot of different modalities to work with the people that I work with. I've been doing this work for the past 15 years, and I like to come on here and share about some of the interesting work that I do, because you never know, you might be interested in getting one of these sessions done, or you might just be interested to know like what is going on in the healing world and what are people going through. So today I wanted to talk about past life regression. Okay, past life regression. I was trained, luckily enough, by the amazing Dr. Brian Weiss. And I want to just share my journey with you guys today for the Wellness Wednesday podcast and give you an idea about how I came into past life regressions and also what I've done with it, the work that I've done. You know what's so funny? I actually just came from my center where I just did a past life regression. All right. So it's just all coming together. It's all coming together. So I first heard about past life regression when I was on vacation. I was in France. I was on one of these boats that it's like a river boat, and they go down through the rivers, and they have the locks, and we have to, it's a whole thing. All right. It's a whole thing. And my parents were like, oh, we're going to France and we're going to be on this riverboat excursion thing, which means that no TV, no internet, because you're on this like little tiny boat going through the rivers, going from town to town. It sounds amazing. It is. It really is. But there is nothing right now for you besides whatever you bring with for your entertainment. So I brought a book, and it was called Many Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss. I read the book and I was like, man, this just resonates for me. You know what I mean? And it talked about this psychiatrist that was in the habit of regressing people, but he was regressing them to their childhood to understand a lot of the trauma that they went through, or to understand why things were the way they were, and to get some clarity and insight. But this one day, he regressed this woman who went to another lifetime, unbeknownst to him. And then they continued to see each other every week. And you got to read the book. It's called Many Lives, Many Masters by Dr. Brian Weiss. And he just talks about these interesting things that came about from their sessions. And after a while, she started to heal from all the issues that she was having. She started to heal. And then after she started to heal, she started becoming more psychic. So psychic to the point where she could pick out lottery numbers. She can go to the dog races, the horse races, and tell you who's going to win. She was just so in tune with everything. And that's what made Dr. Brian Weiss realize that a lot of us, we're all psychic. We all have these abilities, but we don't have the ability to access them when we're hung up on certain things, right? So, what can we do? We can get the healing that we need to get to live the lives we're meant to live. So he went on to start teaching people past life regressions and also to work on his clients in doing past life regressions. So I read this book back in 2014, and I was so moved by it. I said, I got to learn this because there's something calling me to this line of work, and I want to know, right? So I signed up for his course. He had a course in 2015 in Omega Institute during the summer. And I said, I'm going to go to this course. I went, I spent a week learning from the amazing Dr. Brian Weiss. And I could not believe just the things that I learned. First of all, anybody can be regressed. That's the first thing I want to say. Because sometimes people say to me, Uma, I don't know if I could be hypnotized. I've tried it before with a hypnotherapist and I can't get hypnotized because that's the thing, right? To do a past life regression, you get put under a very light hypnotic trance so that you can access your subconscious mind, right? And that's the understanding or the underlying belief of past life regressions is that we have past lives, we've lived before, and all of the information is stored in our subconscious mind. But we can't access the subconscious mind until we quiet the conscious mind, right? So you have two brains. You have the conscious mind that is focused on your day to day. What am I making for dinner? I got to do laundry. I got to pick the kids up. And then you have the subconscious mind that is more concerned with your spiritual path, your purpose. Why am I here? What am I doing? What lessons do I need to learn? Right? So in my training, I learned how to do progressive relaxation techniques. I learned how to lower my voice, make it more hypnotic. I learned how to get people to relax, to get into a contented, peaceful place so that we can relax the body, relax the conscious mind, and access the subconscious mind. And the stories are amazing. The stories are amazing. The one thing I've learned as a past life regression therapist is to not know fully this entire universe that we live in. There's so many angles. So I remember I regressed this woman. She had a host of medical health related issues with her, and she wanted to regress to understand the nature of her health issues. So we go into the regression, and she regressed to a lifetime where she was not even human. I'm not even kidding you guys. Now, could you imagine the look on my face, right? The look on my face, like she came from a cave. And when I asked her to describe what you look like, she said, how many of you remember Gumby? Anybody watched Gumby back in the day? I know I'm dating myself, like how old I am. But you remember that, like, or Google it, Gumby. He's like a tall green Play-Doh kind of figure, right? She said, I was a crystal person. And the way she was describing how she looked, she had long arms, long legs, but she was made of crystals, and she's bendable and flexible and stuff like that. And she was green. And then she talked about coming out of the wall and living in a cave and not knowing where she was. And then a human found her in the cave and taught her the ways of the humans. And that's how she learned. Because I was asking her, well, did you sleep? She said, we don't need to sleep. I said, did you eat? She said, we don't need to eat. And she had this whole fascinating life. Well, when she came to, I asked her, I said, what was the purpose of you accessing that lifetime, right? Because I'm curious now. I'm like, why would you access that lifetime? What's that lifetime about? And she said, it's so crazy. With me going through all of these health issues, I have been buying crystals like crazy, right? And she said, I even went by this store that was going out of sale, going out of business, and they had a sale on all their crystals. And she's like, Uma, I loaded up a shopping cart with the crystals. And she said, and I took it home, and like my whole thing is I want to have crystals all around the house. And she said, I actually wanted to have a crystal wall. Could you imagine? Right? So now she's having some clarity about why she wants to have these crystals in her house and the crystal wall, because in one of her lifetimes, she wasn't even human. She was a crystal person. And something about being around those crystals was going to be healing for her, as she wanted to explore that. Now, I've had my own past life regressions myself. And I got to tell you, I got a lot of clarity about a lot of things in my life. Like, for instance, I used to be very deathly afraid of snakes. And I wanted to know why. Why was I afraid of snakes? Now, this is an example of a past life regression where you have a question, you have a focus, you want to know the reason for something, right? So with that past life that I did, I wanted to know, why do I have a fear of snakes? So when I regressed, I remember I was a young African boy. I was in Africa. I couldn't remember which country in Africa, but I was in Africa. I remember I was, 11 or 12. I was becoming a man. I was becoming a man. For that village, it was an age, either 12 or 13. And to prove your manhood, you had to kill an animal. And I remember hiding in the bushes, wanting to kill, it was a baby rhinoceros. And I thought, how cool would that be to kill that baby rhinoceros and to show my manhood? And as I was creeping in the grass, I stepped on a viper, on a snake, and it jumped up and it just bit me on the inside of my right thigh. Now look how much details I'm giving you, right? Because this is how real it was for me when I was doing the regression. It jumped up and bit me on the inside of my right thigh, and it was a poisonous snake. And I remember, as my eyes were closing, I remember thinking to myself, I die a boy, not a man. I die a boy, not a man. Isn't that amazing? Right? So that explained to me why I was so terrified of snakes, because when I tell you, I couldn't even see like a picture of a snake in a magazine. I would have to take, like a pen and turn the page. I couldn't even touch the page. That's how crazy it was for me. And now I still have a fear of snakes, of course, but if I can see it on a picture, I could see it in a magazine. I don't care. That fear, that unnatural fear is gone now, because I understand why I was so terrified of snakes. So that's an example of a regression where you have a question and you want to know more about this question and why you would do the regression, because you're like, okay, I understand I have this fear. What is this fear about, right? Another type of regression you can do is just curiosity. I'm curious. I want to know a little bit more about me and the lives that I have lived. And with that, when you do that regression, you don't go to a life where you've kind of like pre-imagined in your head, like, okay, I want to know about this thing. I just kind of want to see what comes up. Sure, Reese. Yeah, I'll tell you about it more afterwards. I have a special running this week, actually. So I'm going to talk about that afterwards. Yeah. So with my other regression, I just wanted to know a little bit more about me, about Uma, the soul that travels. So I regressed myself. And I remember when I opened my eyes, I was, open my eyes inside of my head, of course. I was in this house that had the bamboo. It was a bamboo house, and it had no walls, but doors. And the doors were, like in China, they have those paper doors, that white paper door, and you can kind of slide it. I was in a house like that, very simple 3 or 4 bedroom home. But when I looked outside, I was on top of trees. It was up in the air. And I realized this house was on a mountain really, really high up. And it was so high up, I could see over the tops of the trees, and there was white mist, white fog everywhere. And I realized that's why I didn't need any doors, because I wasn't in a city or town or village area. I was by myself in this tree house. I didn't have a family. I was an old man, old Chinese man, and I lived by myself. And I made noodle soup. Now that's important. I'll tell you why that's important. I made noodle soup. And I had a really nice little system going on. I would stay up here, and people in the village down below would walk up the stairs. We had stairs carved into the mountain. They would walk up the stairs to get to me, and I had put a bell on the bottom of the stairs. They would ring the bell, and the sound would travel up, and I would hear it, and I knew to put the water on. I knew to put the water on and start preparing the noodles, because that means somebody was coming for noodles. And they would come upstairs, and then I had this little, like, we didn't have like chairs like this. I had stools, close to the ground, and a table that was close to the ground. So it felt like you were sitting on the ground, but you're not. So I had this like balcony. Again, no balcony. You could literally fall off the side of my house and into the jungle below, or the mountain below. But I had this little mat on this balcony area with no railings, and a table and chairs around it, these little stools. And the people, once they walked up, they were tired from walking up so high. So they would sit and relax and take in the scenery. And then I would bring them the soup that I made. And they would pay me. They would either pay me in money, or they would pay me like barter system. Like they would bring me vegetables or chicken or fish or blankets. You know what I mean? They would bring me whatever they had to offer. And I was fine with it. I didn't really care, because I was making a living. You understand what I'm saying? I was making a living. So when I did my review, I understood why I accessed that life. I accessed that life because I have a tendency to want to be alone. Even though I'm a mom, I'm in a relationship, I have kids, I have friends, I have an active social life. I love my own company. And I guess like my mind wanted to show me why I have that love of my own company. Like I'm okay to be alone, because I literally spent a whole lifetime being alone. I didn't even have a house with the village. I had a house on top of a mountain. You know what I'm saying? And I enjoyed my solitude, but it also gave me understanding why I incarnated this lifetime, because I incarnated to be around people. Because everywhere I go, I form a family, whether it's at my center in Manassas, Virginia, whether it's online on TikTok, it's online on Meet Me. I form like families, communities wherever I go. And I understand now why I do that, because I've had a lifetime where I was just alone. And now this lifetime, I want to be around people. So that's just some of the stories of past life regression. I'm going to open it up for Q&A now for whoever's watching live on YouTube, Meet Me, TikTok, if you have any questions about it. But this is what I want to say. If you're considering getting a past life regression done, understand this. Anybody can be hypnotized, and you're not going into a deep hypnotic state, okay? You're going into a light hypnotic trance. You might say, well, Uma, oh, I love noodles. I forgot to say that. Reese asked me, do you like noodles now? I forgot to say, the reason why my brain accessed that lifetime too is I have an obsession with noodle soup. Not noodles, noodle soup. You know what I'm saying? So now I understand why. And it has to be a very particular kind of like noodles. And yeah, it's like real, I get real fancy with it. You would think I'm a chef. I'm not, but I do. But this is what I want to tell you guys, because I did a bunch of past life regressions last week. I just did one today. And I have to say that I would rather my clients know how to meditate or learn to meditate, or at least be able to sit still or focus their mind. Because sometimes when I do a regression, the people cannot journey. And the reason why is because their conscious mind is too active and they cannot access their subconscious mind. So when that happens, if you ever come to see me and during your session, we realize you cannot actually do this journey, I would either opt to do like Reiki or access bars or energy clear, like something else for your time, because I don't want you to just walk away and not have anything. So that's what I opt to do. But if you do book a past life regression, try to meditate before you go in and understand this. Everybody can be hypnotized. You need, like Dr. Brian Weiss would say, you need to have, my other teacher, Timothy Horn, he's my hypnotherapist teacher. He taught me, I took the course to become a certified hypnotist. And he told me that you need to have an IQ over 90, which is literally everyone, and be able to follow instructions. That is the only two things you need to have a past life regression done. You got to be willing to follow directions from the person, me, right? And have an IQ over 90. The problem is that people don't trust, so if you have a past life regression therapist that you're working with and you can't go anywhere, you might have some trust issues with that person. So try to develop like, a good relationship with your past life regression therapist so that they can, you trust them and they can take you there. Other things I would suggest, if you do get a session, bring your phone, record it, because you might not remember every part of it, but you'll remember certain parts of it. You know what I mean? So record it. I always tell my clients it's okay to record me. I don't take, you could hear me say the script and everything. You can hear yourself when you're answering back. Sometimes my clients don't answer back because they're in such a deep sleep that they don't want to move their mouth because they feel like it would just be upsetting. They're just so relaxed that they just rather answer the questions I ask in their mind. That's okay too. You can absolutely do that. Other questions I get, does a past life regression have to be in person? For me personally, no, it does not. But the one thing is that we would have to have it work out where if you're booking a session with me and you're not coming to my center, that you would find a place in your house that is super quiet, wear a blindfold, put headphones on so that I'm literally like in your ear, and you cannot be disturbed for the hour that we're together. Like no kids, no pets. You got to be in a place where you're able to do this, because you don't want to like pay me for a session and then you got everybody, throwing everything but the kitchen sink at you, and you can't really truly do your session. I will end with this. We are in the week of November 6th. Today's Wednesday, November 6th. And I have a special for anyone who's listening to this that might be interested in getting a past life regression done. You might want to try it out. I have a special where if you book me for a 1-hour session, it's $77.77 as opposed to the 111, the 111 that it usually costs. So you get like a $30 discount. Okay. So that's to anybody who's listening now. Just hit me up on my email, info@thelotusandthelight.com. Wait, info@thelotusandthelight.com. Yeah, I had to check that out. And, just hit me up and be like, listen, I want to do the past life regression. I'd like to take advantage of this weekly special and let's set it up. I prefer you come to me in the center, but if you can't make it to the center, that's fine. We can do it online as well. All right. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this talk. I don't see any questions coming in from anybody about the past life regression. Okay, where am I located? My center, the Lotus and the Light Metaphysical Center, is located in Manassas, Virginia. So if you're not close to Manassas, Virginia, you can we can do it online through Zoom. It would be like a Zoom session. All right. Oh yeah, if you're in Maryland, you're close by for sure. For sure. So that's my talk for today, Wellness Wednesday. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it brought you some clarity about what a past life regression session is. And I hope that you'll be interested in checking it out as well. All right. Thanks, guys, so much. I hope to see you guys in soon. Bye for now.